Right.
Might say something, so say hello. But so cell phones onto YouTube, if you would please, but volume off. We got everything back there working. Okay, good. All right. So,
are you ready?
We're rolling.
Good morning. It's been another interesting beginning to UUCF, as every Sunday. Technical problems, and hey, you know you're in the right place. Good morning to those of you here in the sanctuary and to those viewing us online. I'm Chris Monk. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Flint. We are a progressive community in which people are free to be themselves without fear. If you would like more information about Unitarian Universalism or our congregation, please feel free to contact one of our ministers, and their contact information can be found at uuflint.org. If you're a visitor today and you'd like to receive our weekly email update newsletter, which lets you know everything that's going on around here, doesn't commit you to anything, it just lets you know, you'll find one of these cards in the seat back. And if you fill out the back and drop it in the basket as you leave today, you will be put on the email update list. Today is a lay-led, I can say this. Today is a lay-led service by one of our own members, Ray Rust. Now for announcements. Believe it or not, there's nothing on the back of your order of service. So that means I'm going to let Terry make one announcement. You can just stand up and make it, Terry.
Because there's always something. So February 3rd, mark your calendar. How many people are familiar with Mustard's Retreat? Yay! 50 years together this year. They were a soundtrack of our young adult life, my young adult life. And they're going to be performing here. It's also going to be, they're going to share the profits with both the church and also with Flint Shelter. So enjoy us, come for a concert for Hope, Love, and Charity, February 3rd, 7:30, $20 tickets in advance, $25 at the door. I'll be selling tickets out here every Sunday. And they're also available in the office. Find it, there's a link on Facebook, share, because we want to try to pack the place, because in part, it's good music and such a good cause. Thank you.
That's long enough, Terry. Okay. Thank you. And that will be a really good time if we come out. And just so you know, we did not ask them. They asked us. And that is really special, that they wanted to do a concert for their 50th anniversary here in Flint, and they contacted us and wanted to do the concert here. So that's pretty cool. Okay, to light our chalice this morning. Yeah, well, good. Each morning, we must hold out the chalice of our being to receive, to carry, and give back. You might want to light that down there, too.
Thanks.
Thank you. Please join me in reciting our covenant, recognizing the richness of diversity, the beauty and wonder of shared worship, and the transforming power of love and service. We gather as a sacred, intentional community to freely seek knowledge and truth, to celebrate the fullness of life, and by our actions to increase goodness and justice. Our opening words this morning, may we... All right, go ahead, Jen, I'll let you play. Thank you, Jennifer. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other.
Now, I don't know about you, but I can't sing This Little Light of Mine without standing up. So let's all stand if we're able, and we're going to sing This Little Light of Mine. It's on page 118 if you want the music, but it's up there too. Thank you so much. Beautiful singing. Please be seated.
Leaping into action. And finding my things. So, doing a service is kind of like driving. You know, so we all sit with young people who are learning to drive, and they don't really know how to get anywhere yet because they've sat in the car and they've watched us, but they've not been active. Well, it's the same way of doing a service. I've sat here and watched so many well put together services, and yet never really picked up the details. But that wasn't the reading. That's just what's going on. So this makes me appreciate the professionals that we have tremendously. All right, let's see if I can read in public. I want to know if you can disappoint others to be true to yourself, if you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. Oriah Mountain Dreamer. More from her in a moment. All right, what's next? Oh, right here in front of me. Okay, Jennifer. And This poem is The Invitation by a Royal Mountain Dreamer, and I've found this poem really useful in my life. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dreams, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moons. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it, or to fade it, or to fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let ecstasy fill you from your fingertips to your toes, without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you're telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint others to be true to yourself, if you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be fearless if you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it isn't pretty every day, and if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and stand at the edge of the lake and shout to the silver moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after a night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you can stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and truly like the company you keep. Oriah Mountain Dreamer, The Invitation. All right, what's next? Song.
In this holy, chaotic world, may we never lose sight of the miracles that are all around us and right beside us. Song by Peter Mayer. When I was a child each week, on Sunday would go to church, pay attention to the priest, and he would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread. Everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. I remember feeling sad, miracles don't happen still. Now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracle, not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips. Now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be the world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-downs, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face, say it's not a sacrament. That'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, say it's not a sacrament. Tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head, 'cause I remember when church let out and how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-downs, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now.
Thank you, Bonnie. The risk. Okay, Thorpe, I'm going to use this mic. The risky part about having her sing that song before I speak is that song brings me to tears every time. Here we go. Let's see. There we go. Probably shouldn't wear the glasses and the bolo. So I decided to sit down for this because doing a formal presentation scares me. So this is my attempt to kind of ratchet it down for myself. But But boy, doing a service makes you appreciate the professionals that normally do this so much. So my title is This Atheist's Spiritual Journey. And of course, you guys all know that I would choose surprising or controversial words just to make it sound interesting. Now, I am a small a atheist. If you've talked to any atheists, there's differences among us. So when I say atheist, I'm making the simplest of assertions. I don't happen to believe in a God. Now, that doesn't mean I am bothered if you believe in a God. That doesn't mean that I think there is any way you could prove that God herself didn't create this world, and she just hasn't told me about it because it doesn't matter, or this is my journey. But I don't happen to believe. So I've told you one thing I don't believe. So what do I believe? Well, I believe in you guys. I believe in this community. I believe in this church. I believe in so many things around me. And then spiritual. I specifically chose that because there's some evangelistic atheists that find the word spiritual just too close to God, and it gives them heartburn. But also, spiritual has a meaning besides just a spirit. There is this feeling that we all get that is transcendent. It is us being uplifted. And so when I say spiritual, I mean that state of our being. And so that's part of why I come here. This lifts me out of my everyday life and helps me be the person I'd rather be than the one that sometimes shows up. Now here's my first slide. This is actually a 2-slide PowerPoint. I might even throw in a third because I kind of don't really know what to do with PowerPoint. So my early religious, look at the time. Okay, doing okay. My early religious training was as a Christian Scientist. My mother and her parents, they were devout Christian Scientists. This spiritual practice for them, this religion, was very important in holding their lives together. It let them get through the disaster of the Great Depression and remain a family. So what is Christian Science, or really, what did I get from it? Because it's been just a few decades since I've participated. Christian Scientists don't have regular preachers. The congregation appoints 2 people each week to read from their lesson. The lesson is published by the mothership, the mother church. And we all mark our lessons and then read from the Science and Health, which was the book written by Mary Baker Eddy, the founder. Very radical religion. A woman started it. She faced a life-threatening tragedy and found her way to spiritualism or religion to hold that together, and she was inspired to write this set of thoughts, and I guess thoughts is the best word, or description of Bible verses, of the Bible. So it was the responsibility for the religion lies with each member. And that is something that really fits nicely with what I find here. And that the core teachings that I walked away with is that the world, the universe, was created by a loving mother, father, God, both masculine and feminine. Now, she was taking the line in Genesis where God created man and woman literally, and looked around and said, well, if we're in God's we're in God's likeness, took that literally and said, well, if we're in God's likeness, then God must both be masculine and feminine. And I feel like that really colored the structure of the church, in that I was surprised to find out that other religions didn't have women in most of the positions in the church. So that belief, literal belief that God has created a perfect world for us. So then what do we have to do? Well, we have our lessons to help structure our thinking, but when we find something that doesn't look like perfection, the Christian Scientists would say perfection is here, you don't see it yet. And so prayer and doing your weekly service is in fact your work to change your mind, to see the gifts that are already in front of you. And of course, that feeds very nicely to the philosophies that have guided me ever since. So yes, prayer. So Christian Scientists have a different, because you're praying to guide yourself to the gifts that are already here. You're not supposed to, it's not appropriate to pray for people that haven't asked you to pray. Because your relationship with God is yours, their relationship with God is theirs. So if you see someone that you feel like needs support, your prayers are all about you seeing them in God's perfect light. But there's no need for you to say, hey, God, did you notice Chris over there, and she could really use another car? Our father, mother has already noticed that, and apparently there's some plan. We all just don't see it. But if Chris hasn't asked me to pray for her, then I would go ahead and just work on my own thinking, that there is plenty for Chris here, and she will find it, or we'll find it together. So my early training was with Christian Science. Probably should address the name, Science. So not to be confused with Scientology, another religion that came much later. Christian Science is formed in about 1850, and then L. Ron Hubbard's is 1950, 1960? Yeah, there's my phone a friend right there. So they believe that it is scientifically proven through the Bible that, God is there for us, and that everything we need can be worked out as if it's a formula. So moving on. So I then fell away from that church for many reasons. Also, I was in my 20s, and that is just what seems to happen. And then when I came back to a spiritual practice, I joined liberal Christian churches. I once participated in Woodside, which is now the People's Church, and really enjoyed that group of people, that liberal philosophy. And then my wife at the time was looking for something, and we ended up changing towns because of high schools, and then changing churches. So my son and my first wife and I came here, and I think it was the OWL program that originally attracted this. My son was just beginning to discover things about himself that he was talking to his mother about, but they had forgotten to let me know what was going on, which was fine. They managed just fine. But as each of them found their lives changed, they moved on from this town and their career, my wife and her career. But having come here, like I had found the spot that seems to suit me. And what I find here is people who are all on that faith journey and willing to talk to each other about what it is we're doing with our lives and how we find spirituality wherever we're at or whatever we're working on or with. And also, I am a person who likes to please. I like to make things fit. I like to get things done. So you've noticed that I happen to like to play the microphone game at the end of the service. I had noticed that now that we're all grown-ups, there are no longer any cooperative games that we play. They all seem to be competitive games. So where do we find cooperative games? Wherever you make them. So putting this service together every week, trying to run the soundboard in there. I see these as cooperative games. Working on, can we share the microphone? Can we remember to talk to the microphone when we have it? Is another wonderful little game that I happen to like. So being here has been beautiful. A number of years ago, I stumbled across this book, or if you believe in God or a guiding spirit, this was put in my path. And this is called The Four Agreements. And this is written by a man named Don Miguel Ruiz. And he's got a nice little biopic on here. He started out in a Central American culture, and he was being raised to be a shaman or a wise man for the community. He fell away from that, got a regular job in the economy that we all live in, and then later in life heard the call to come back to his spiritual practice. So for these people, the Toltecs, this is their religion. But Don Miguel Ruiz has done a fabulous job of taking the wisdom from their religion and turning it into, I would say, a philosophy or a spiritual practice that you can either hold as philosophy or as a religion, and translated it, not only the words, but the ideas. He does a wonderful job, as we've seen, in the Bible, of using stories that make sense to carry forward his narrative. And I'm not going to read any of his stories. If you're interested in how he's done that, wonderful book. Oh, thanks, Thorpe. See, there's no instructions back there, but he's just figuring out what I am up to. All right. So the Four Agreements. So these, okay. Just check it. So these are not commandments. These are not thou shalts. These are goals that we're trying to reach, and we have this agreement not with the community, but with ourselves first. So you will find that sometimes we live up to what we want, sometimes we don't. And it would be best if we didn't spend a lot of time admonishing ourselves for when it didn't quite work out. We didn't quite get where we want to be, but just take a deep breath and accept we are here where we are, and I'll try again tomorrow. So the first agreement, be impeccable with your word. And I'll read the short fly piece here. I use this outline in the fly on a regular basis. So be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only that which you mean. Avoid using words to speak against yourself or gossip about others. Use the power of your words to direct in the direction of truth and love. So one of the places I have lots of work to do with being impeccable with my word, I have the same, I don't tend to want to gossip about people as much as I think others do. I see my big work is not speaking against myself, saying, oh, Ray, you could have done better there. It's like, I need to remember that this is as good as I can be today, and also to say no when it's appropriate. As a people pleaser, one of my struggles is not overcommitting. And I'm sure some of you have seen me do this here at church. It's like, oh yeah, I'll take care of that. And, oh yeah, I can fix that. And then my wife says, are you ever going to come home? But there's, so many fun things to do in a day. The second agreement, don't take anything personally. Nothing that others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune from the opinions and actions of others, you won't be a victim of unnecessary suffering. So it's easy at work or at the family, and someone seems crabby, they're unpleasant, they point out your flaws in a way that makes you feel like it's a criticism. And it can be really hard not to take personally. But that is just them in the stress of that moment. But then I see also that on the flip side of that is if I see someone that I think is taking what I'm saying personally, I can stop and moderate what I'm saying. I can try to guide or change how I'm approaching this. I've started adding pieces to my language. I had a word for it there. Pieces to my language that kind of disarm it. Like, instead of saying, you should, I'm trying to remember to go to, we could, or here's an idea. So I disembody the idea so that they don't think I'm trying to make them or they should have, but here's something, and then they could tell me about it because it may make no sense for the way they live their life or the words I've used. The next one, oh, this is tough. Don't make assumptions. And when working in groups, I see this happen all the time, and I do this to people. So someone will read what Don had to say first. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicating with others clearly, you can avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With this one agreement, there we go, you can completely transform your life. So it sounds to me like our author found this one to be huge in their life. So we often start a conversation with somebody, and I do this all the time. I've been thinking about a particular path. I've been thinking about a particular thing. So I walk up to somebody and I say, hey, do you have, or what are you going to do? And they assume I'm talking about something else. And so the communication kind of doesn't work for a while because they don't know what the topic is. So if I had remembered to simply state what the topic was, and then with my family, I will make, as a fixer and a pleaser, I'll have something I want to do, some show I want to go to. So instead of saying, or what I should say is, hey, on Wednesday, do you want to go to that movie? I'll start out with, what do we got going on Wednesday? Which is unclear about what I want to do. Do I want to stay home? Did I forget the thing that my wife has told me that we are doing on Wednesday? And she's told me more than once, by the way. And so remember to put out what you want first. Are you using that microphone stand? Instead of, is there a way I can help you set up here? And that brings us to where we're going. But also, when we find that a conversation isn't working, it's like, we don't see the world the same. I wonder why. Ask the question that you might be afraid to ask. And then the last one on his list is always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment, and it will be different when you're healthy as opposed to when you're sick. Understanding any circumstances. Under any circumstances, simply do your best. You will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. So, when you're working on a project, especially one that you started a little late, or especially one that I started a little late, or whoever has asked me to help them with this got blindsided. Do what you can do your best, but then give yourself the grace of saying, at this moment, at this time, that was the best I could do. And then a corollary to that I found really useful, and I'm sure if you read the parables, you find a lot more depth in each one of these. But a corollary that I find useful is to, when I'm annoyed with someone, is to try to ask myself, or not try to ask myself, try to assert, maybe they're doing the best they can today. So this didn't seem pleasant, this didn't seem good. I kind of feel like I was left holding the bag, but maybe that's all they had. Maybe they got blindsided in a way that was much worse than mine, and they've actually minimized the problem before they dropped it in my lap. So I try to do them that grace, as this was the best they could do that day. I have not worked on an ending. So this, I'll work on one right now. This is why I sat down. This is an informal presentation. So I find this book a really nice place for spiritual guidance. And either reading the short synopsis or the full parables he's written for us can take me out of the worry that I'm at right now and help me get to the person that, a little more like the person I want to be. All right, and what's up next? Time for generosity. That's you. Yeah.
Thank you, Ray. Good job. Now is our time for generosity. We invite you to join us in our offering so that we may pass on a bright torch for future generations by placing your gift in the basket at the back of the sanctuary as you leave, or online at uuflint.org. And all gifts of time, talent, and treasure are gratefully accepted. Our closing words today. The blessing of truth be upon us. The power of love direct us and sustain us. And may the peace of this community preserve our going out and coming in from this time forth until we meet again. Will you please join me in extinguishing our chalice? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Oh, yes, sorry. So we're gonna sing a song now that everyone is welcome to sing. I'm sorry I don't have lyrics for you, but you guys know this song, so just hop in when you can. Ray, what did you do? Tightened it.
I messed with it.
You sure did.
Is it there?
It's good. Song is called As I Am, and I know a lot of you know it. If you know all the way through, sing all the way through. If you just know the chorus, pop in when you can, all right? Song by Summer Osborne. I am here, I am whole, as I am. I am safe, I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I'm free. I'm as perfect as can be. I am here, I am whole as I am. Nothing can illuminate darkness like a serenade. Nothing can make peace like a song. Got a ways to go, but then we're closer than we've ever been. Let's walk together on and on. I am here, I am whole as I am. I am safe, I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I'm free. I'm as perfect as can be. I am here, I am whole as I am. I propose a family that looks a lot like you and me, including all the people that we love. Then we'll take a photograph of everybody as they laugh, and put it in a book entitled Us. I am here, I am whole as I am. I am safe, I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I'm free. I'm as perfect as can be. I am here, I am whole as I am. May seem just like a song, may seem just like a thought, but soon it will take hold, become a truth that's taught for generations, generations, generations. I am here, I am whole as I am. I am safe, I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I'm free. I'm as perfect as can be. I am here, I am whole as I am. I am here, I am whole as I Thank you for singing.